After a lengthy delay getting out of Marrakesh, we finally made it to Lisbon, Portugal. With Elena not feeling the best and an offer of going on a wine tasting at 10 o'clock tonight, who could refuse? I left her in the room and I went off wine tasting Portuguese wines. Elena hadn't felt well from the moment we arrived in Lisbon. She picked up some kind of bug when we left Morocco and developed this really bad rash, which resulted in us taking her to the local hospital. Once Elena got the all clear from the hospital, we thought we'd go and check out the local town and see what was around. And these trams, they were just awesome. There are two types, there's a tourist one and there's the local public transport. Suggestion, definitely get the tourist one and go on a sightseeing tour around the city. It's just a great way to see all of Lisbon, and what better way to do it than on an old tram and relive some of that nostalgia that our grandparents once bragged about. Lisbon is just full of surprises, and this old elevator was just that. Rising up above the buildings, we got a view from the top that was simply spectacular, something that you just have to do if you're trudging around old Lisbon town. From up here you get some great views of the Tagus River and also of the Carmo Convent, which is an old Gothic style building that was destroyed in 1755 by an earthquake. It's still standing today as a museum, and it's an interesting place to go and check out. There's an old saying, what goes up must go down. We came up in the lift, but we have to go down some pretty tight stairs to get out of this place. We're making our way down the stairs now, high above the streets. We've got to go down these tight spiral staircases. It's pretty amazing, huh? It's pretty tight. You wouldn't want to lose your footing. But look at the views you get. Discovering that not only were we able to use the trams with our little city pass, we were also able to use the local ferry. So we thought we'd jump on a ferry and head off down to Belém, which was famous for the origination of the little Portuguese custard tarts. We thought we'd go down here, check out the place and have some great lunch. If you're going to go down to Belém, make sure you check out getting yourself a good fish pie, or at least some of the local sardines. Being right on the edge of the Atlantic, this place is brimming with decent fish. And what better way to finish a meal than to wash it down with a local beer.
Palace, which is in the old historic town of Sintra. Sintra is only 30 minutes by train from the capital Lisbon, so it was really easy. We jumped on the train and came here for the day.
The 30-minute train ride from Lisbon is definitely worth it if you want to come out and check out Pina Palace. It really is an amazing structure to see, and one you really shouldn't be missing if you're coming to Lisbon. You can take a bus from the centre of Sintra up to the castle, or you can do like we did, and we actually walked our way up there. It is a bit of a steep climb, so if you're a bit frail on your feet, I suggest you take the bus. We had to pay a little extra to walk through the inside of the castle, but you know what? Normally I wouldn't go for this sort of thing. But I'm glad I did. The inside of the castle and seeing some of the old furniture and the way that people lived in the past was really quite interesting. It was something that I'd definitely do again, and if you're going to go all the way to Pina Palace, why not pay the extra bit of money and have a good look around the inside as well. I was fascinated by the old kitchen. Some of the pots and pans were amazing. Not that I know what any of these utilities are used for. That's usually Elena's domain.
we just came from Pena Palace, and not far from it, it's a castle which is like really old Moorish castle from, I think it's like 8th to 9th century. There's a lot of ruins here which was left from there, but yeah.
Now, before anyone asks, I didn't cut Elena's video short. It was all we had on our recording, sadly. These old ruins were absolutely incredible to walk around, although they did take your breath away because there was a fair bit of climbing upstairs to reach the parapets and get the view down from the top of the hill, back down over the valley, across Sintra and onwards to Lisbon. From up here, the enemy stood no chance, as the people could see all the way across the Atlantic coast, and on the other side, all the way across to Lisbon. You could see for miles from up here on a clear day, and the views were spectacular in every direction we looked. With Portugal being perched right on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, they have a fascination for fish. And this little sardine shop was incredible. They had cans for every year, stacked from floor to ceiling. It was an amazing building to check out. Leaving the fishy business behind, we stumbled across a tiny little area where they had a marquee set up and they had sausage. So what did I have to do? I plonked myself down with a glass of sangria and sat next to a local and just chowed down on some of the local cuisine. It was awesome. Elena did ask me to leave her a couple of pieces, but while she was flat out recording this, I had to just keep eating. It was so good. I just couldn't stop, and I didn't want the bloke next to me stealing the sausage.
Well, it's our last morning in Lisbon. We have to leave in about half an hour's time. But before we leave, there's one thing we have to do. These are Lisbon or Portuguese custard tarts, and they are gorgeous. So, salute Lisbon. It's been an awesome trip.
Hey, thanks for watching, but go check us out now at globetrottingcouple.com.